Hello everybody, Omni here. Before we kick off the video, I wanted to take a moment to pay my respects to a loss we had in the Star Wars family. We lost another OG original family member from the original trilogy. April 30th saw the passing of Peter Mayhew at the age of 74. And if you don't know him by name, you should at least know him as the greatest co-pilot in the stars, Chewbacca the Wookiee. He was the man behind the suit. He was the man you saw on screen, and he was a man that always tried to deliver the most positivity that he could. It's just another loss that we will suffer here in the coming years, as it's sure to be with the passing of time. But with it, considering it is now May the 4th, I wanted to take a moment and just pay my respects to the man. But as we will continue on, in that same celebration of May the 4th, I wanted to go ahead and talk about a couple of the things that have been floating around the internet and floating around my own head, considering the new Star Wars film, Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9. It's just a series of theories, not just to the name, just theories about what may or may not happen in the film itself. And some of these, I just kind of picked a bunch from the internet, as many as I could find. And I just want to kind of go over a couple of them with you. Just kind of share some thoughts. And if there's anything on this list that hasn't been proposed, I'm just looking to collect as many theories as possible. I've scrounged around, and these are the ones that I've found and the ones I've come up with as well. Not going to distinguish the two, but I'll let you decide. So we're just going to start from the beginning of a list that I made here. So we all know that the title of the movie is now revealed to be Rise of Skywalker. Now, the instant thought I think a lot of people go to is that, are they going to retcon, not really retcon, or just expand upon what came up in The Last Jedi? Was Kylo really telling the truth? Was she really sensing the truth? Was she kind of goaded into believing that her parents were nobody? Well, we find out that Rey is the Skywalker whom will rise. This could be the result of her being a lost or forgotten daughter of Luke, Leia. Some people even have just suggested, since we don't really know Kylo Ren's age, maybe she's his daughter. That's a weird one. I think that one's completely, personally, I think that one's completely out the door. No way. I could buy that Luke may have had a child that he did not know about. If you followed the EU beforehand, there was a character whom he had his children with named Mara Jade that, you know, maybe they did have a relationship. Maybe she left and had this baby without his knowledge. Maybe sensing what was coming with the what was happening within his Jedi Order. Who knows? She could have taken Rey away from that situation for her to give birth and just unfortunately abandoned her for whatever reason. Who knows? Couldn't be it. It could be the title could allude towards the redemption of Kylo or Ben Solo. And by the end of it, maybe he, after his redemption concludes, he discards his name and in honor of his fallen uncle, takes the name Skywalker for himself to carry on the name. Another one would be that Luke himself either survived The Last Jedi and we see his return and rise to power, or that he just returns from the beyond, either as a Force ghost or as resurrected. Don't see that happening. As the Force ghost, sure, but we're seeing an end to the Skywalker Saga, so I don't think I think we will see the Skywalkers die out, personally, but we'll see. Some people have even said this could go as far as Anakin himself returning. Also, don't see it. There's rumors that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor have both shot scenes for the upcoming film. Nothing confirmed, but I would imagine this would be in the form of visions or Force ghosts, if anything. I don't think Anakin himself will return, though Palpatine's involvement could allude to more than that. So another popular theory, this is one of the bigger ones that you know, I might agree with this as well, that we won't see a return of the Jedi Order in the form that we know. Luke was teaching Rey in The Last Jedi that the the Force is not inherently good or evil. It basically boils down to how you use it. In George Lucas's original script, he referred to Force users as Skywalkers, and they later changed Luke's last name from Star Killer to Skywalker as we know it now. So in honor of the fallen Skywalker family, maybe this new Jedi Order, this new Force guild, this new Force Order goes by the name Skywalker. They will be Skywalkers rather than Skywalker by name or by blood. I could see that being something they pull around and do as kind of like to honor those that came before. It's possible. I don't know. I would be okay with that. I don't know what direction we're really going to go towards. Also, one, I haven't seen too many people refer to this, that Skywalker could refer to those created in the same way that Anakin was. As we've learned in the Vader comics, that Anakin was not the product of the Force by itself. Palpatine was the one that influenced the Force to create Anakin in Shmi Skywalker. Therefore, Anakin is born of the dark side and born of Palpatine. Not directly being his father, but he used what he learned from Plagueis to manipulate the Force to create life. Therefore, Anakin. This could be a project that is named after Anakin, since we do know Shmi's last name is Skywalker. And so maybe that we will learn that Rey was made in this same fashion. Maybe she was failed. Maybe she didn't have the same potential that Anakin did initially until her Force awoken. But it could be like the project. The Skywalker refers to the method in which these Force beings were created. Now we go on to the questions of how is Palpatine still around? I'm probably leaning towards more he's a Force ghost, because what we know from Force ghosts in the current canon is that they can't freely roam like Jedi ghosts can. They have to attach their spirit to something in order to linger, to stay around. That can be a person, it can be a place, or it can be an object. We've seen many dark side artifacts pop up in the new trilogy and the comics and stuff like that. Speaking of the obsidian ring that Snoke was wearing that was taken from Vader's palace, that's a possibility. I believe he could even have his spirit attached to the place where he died, the throne room of the fallen Death Star. It's a possible thing. Of course, there's the clone storyline from the expanded universe before that got wiped out. He had cloning facilities where he had backup bodies, and he could transfer his essence, his soul, into other bodies to survive. Either what we saw killed at the end of Return of the Jedi was a clone body and not the real Palpatine, or that was the real Palpatine and his essence transferred into a younger, small, other clone. The other theory is that maybe he's a body snatcher, and he's living on through Snoke, through Kylo, kind of like a dark essence, kind of manipulating people down the path that he wants them on to eventually meet some end goal. Therefore, Snoke, his backstory in the end will be irrelevant, and the fact that they killed him off in The Last Jedi, despite being a subversion at the moment, could just be further cementing the fact that Snoke was never really the threat. Snoke may have believed he was the threat. He may have believed he was in full control of his actions, either unknowingly working under the machinations of Palpatine or knowingly. The way he talks and the way he's managed out his plans, I feel like if that's the case, I think he's completely unaware that he's being manipulated. But I do think that Palpatine has been using him in some fashion as a puppet. Rebels introduced a new way that we can bring back Palpatine, and that's through time travel. There's the space, the worlds between that. It's a dimension between ours and the Force that connects everything. There's a plane that Ezra discovers in Rebels that accesses this dimension. And in this building that they found, there's like doorways, windows into specific points in time. And it allows you to, from this point, interact with those moments. If you haven't seen Rebels, I will be spoiling a plot point from the later seasons, but he does reach through, and this is the moment where Ahsoka was fighting Darth Vader. And from all you knew from the original perspective when that episode came out was that the temple that they were fighting in collapsed, and it's assumed that she dies. However, we learn in that she is just as she's about to get struck down by Vader, Ezra reaches through the mirror and pulls her into the future, taking her from her moment in time and bringing her to the future, sparing her life from that moment, but possibly altering history. We don't know. So this could be involvement. We saw a moment in the comics where a ritual was performed by Vader using Sith objects that resulted in a breaching of the world between that allowed this ancient Sith Lord to resurrect in the present. This could be a plot point that comes out to bring Palpatine back from the past and save him from his demise, bringing him into the future. I can't remember the name of that Sith Lord, but it's irrelevant. Darth Vader killed him as soon as he corporealized in the real world in the present day. So his resurrection worked. It was a success. However, it did not last long. Back to the Skywalker title. It could be just a new lost child, completely disregarded, maybe completely disconnected. Maybe this kind of goes back, though. It's not Rey that is the lost child of Luke or Leia. It could even be a child that no one's met or seen yet, which I feel like that would be a cheap way to go with that as well. We have Rey herself having no family. Maybe at the end of it, the rise of Skywalker is to honor her master. She takes the name because, as far as we know, we still don't know her last name, and we probably won't. There could be a new Skywalker born at the end of the movie. And this could go out to all the Reylo shippers. There is the redemption arc between Kylo and Rey, maybe at the end of it, they hook up and they create their own Skywalker. Who knows? There's also a possible theory that Rey is either a clone of Anakin, an attempt to create another chosen one, or is the actual Force reincarnation of Anakin. And then the last one is kind of one that Last Jedi kind of threw this one out, but it was something I kind of pieced together. It goes back to like Lucas always saying that these things rhyme. There's always a rhyme to the way the events pan out in all these trilogies. And that comes back to the title Rise. The first time, at least chronologically, that we really hear an important time that Rise was used was, of course, when Vader was first born in his true form, in the armor and the cybernetics, and you hear the first words that he hears is Rise from the Emperor when he is reconstructed after the fight against Kenobi. Vader is the one that Kylo admires beyond anybody else. He says, I will finish what you started. And he, of course, looks up to Vader. Vader is a huge name. Anakin Skywalker is a huge name in the history books of this universe. So my thought process on that is finishing the work that he started. Now, if he knew anything about what happened, he should know that Vader was redeemed at the end of his arc. But we also know that Palpatine survives in some fashion. So finish what he started could have been the death of Palpatine, because we know that Anakin/Vader was the one that attempted to overthrow and kill the Palpatine. And if he'd failed at doing that, Kylo could be looking to complete that death, complete that kill. If somehow through working with Snoke, through his other the storylines that we haven't seen in the background, there's could be a part of Kylo that knows that maybe Palpatine or Darth Sidious is still alive and finish what he started. He's gone down this dark path because he feels like this is the only way he can get close enough to find Palpatine and finish what his grandfather started. And maybe in the end, claiming himself to be a Skywalker. Who knows? There's still a lot of other things. And of course, it all comes down to is, could Rey just be a Kenobi? Could Rey just be still nobody? She could be a response to the Force. Somehow this has to tie back. Bringing back Palpatine echoes back and is the one thread that still really connects all of these stories from episode 1 to episode 9. This is the end of a saga, and this one ties them all together. Bringing back Palpatine is the only way to do that, especially with the revelation in the comics that he is the genesis of the Skywalker bloodline. He created Anakin. He created this whole family arc. All of this journey that we've followed for all of these years, whether it be Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader, were all put in motion by Palpatine. And for it to end with his involvement in some way, poetic, perfect. How? We've yet to know. Like I said, there's lots of theories that I can't even say that these are all of them, but there is a lot of ways that this could come back into play. But Palpatine is both the alpha and the omega of the Skywalker storyline, and the only true way to end it is with his return. And for Rey, maybe even Luke, to finally put him down for good. But yeah, that's it for today. I want to wish everybody a happy May the 4th. I wanted to do this for May the 4th, do something Star Wars related in celebration of this day. And I hope you all liked some of these theories. I know some of them are a stretch. Some of them are more than likely. Maybe there's something completely off this list that they'll come up with that'll surprise us all the same. I'm sure there's a lot of other theories out there. If there's something that I brought up on this list that you've thought of or you've heard somebody else say, share it in the comments. I want to know all the different things going through people's minds about this movie. And I'm happy to be speculating and in this fan headspace again for Star Wars. And I'm looking forward to this movie quite a bit. After Endgame, this is the next huge thing coming out. Another end of an era, really. We saw the end of the MCU as we know it, as it began, the end of an 11-year arc. And here we're seeing the end of a much, much longer arc. Fewer movies, but a much longer legacy and a much longer arc and a much longer legacy coming to the end at the end of this year with Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, the conclusion of the main Star Wars story that we've been following since the 70s. So, thank you guys for stopping in. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your theories. I would love to have a conversation with you guys down in the comments below. And for now, I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.